Hello there guys, Francis Gray here, welcome back to a brand new video build. In today's video we're going to be making up a rare resin kit of the mighty Talos from the epic movie Jason the Argonauts. I'll see you after this. Okay guys, so welcome back to a brand new video, and in today's video we are going to be making up this resin statue or model kit of everyone's favourite giant, Talos, from the epic movie Jason the Argonauts. So I've already gone ahead and I've done a quick unboxing review of this kit, and I've showed all the good and the bad and the ugly. But for the most part this is a really nice model and I'm looking forward to working on it. So without further ado, let's crack on, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to sort out some of these seam lines. So now that the main seams has been dealt with, there'll probably be some more I need to tidy up, so for the next stage I'm going to go in with a nice grey prime. Okay, so now thanks to that grey prime we can go ahead and we can see some of the imperfections, like on his eye there, and we've got some like support marks on the top of it, the back of the helmet, and then obviously there's some more seam line work to do on the legs, etc. So now that we can see it better because of the grey prime, I'm going to go in with one of these drill bit ends and we're going to go ahead and tidy this up. Okay, so for the next part I'm going to go in with some wood filler and we're going to go ahead and try and get rid of some imperfections. Okay guys, so getting back to the actual base, now I reached out to the client and I told him about adding more water and I need a surface to work up from, because if I just tried to make like, I don't know, like modelling clay to make it look like sea, that because it's wafer thin, when you go to move it, or with the weight of the model on top, you're more likely to just break it. So we need something strong and whole to house it upon. And also, interestingly, I didn't catch up on this when I did the kit review, but I've now realised that the Argo, the ship, is the wrong way around. So this is where Queen Hera should be, and this is the front of the ship, and in the film we see him grab the front of the ship, or is it the bow? I don't know, I think so. But yeah, so even the thing that crashes through the waves, that separates the waves, is here. So if Talos is here, they're actually, you know, they've turned around and they're on the way back to the beach. So, you know, it all ends happily ever after. But yeah, so we need to sort that out. So that's a little gripe that would basically keep me awake at night. How they missed that, I have no idea. But yeah, so what we're going to do is I went through my base collection, if you like, what I've been collecting over the years, and this is actually to the top of a DVD cabinet. So the idea is, as you can see, it fits rather lovely. So I'm going to get rid of this Jason the Argonauts logo purely because I know I can 3D print something crisper and sharper and probably easier to paint, and that can go here on this raised side, on this ledge. So I need to go ahead and add bulk anyway to the sides of the mountain, so this whole area could be just mountainscape, which is going to make it look a lot more cooler. And if we're cutting this up regardless to get rid of this side, we might as well go ahead and cut the Argo out, and we can flip it around so it's facing the right way, and then it's screen accurate. So yeah, a lot of work but a lot of fun at the same time. So next stage is we're going to take this into the garage, and I'm going to use my bandsaw, and we're going to go ahead and try and free up these parts. Okay guys, so here we are with all the off-cut bits, and we need to go ahead and reconnect these in place. So I'm going to go in with some Yoo-hoo glue to fix it all in place. Before I go ahead and do that, I want to make sure that the glue's got something to hold on to. So I'm going to go in with a sharp scalpel, and I'm going to add a nice zigzag score mark on this. Okay, nicely scored. So let's go ahead and start mapping this out. Okay, so the best thing about doing it this way is we can make these parts definitely line up, so we can make life a little bit easier for ourselves. Okay, so for the next part we need to go ahead and add the ship, but obviously we need it the right way this time. Okay, so I think that it would look better a little bit further back here than it would be if I was to do like that. Well, then again, saying that, that's not bad. But I do prefer it like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and... Okay, so I need to go ahead and get this cut off. Okay, I think that will work much better. So I'm not going to go ahead and use this like I previously stated in the video, even though it probably would work. I just know I could 3D print something a little bit more better. So yeah, for the next stage I'm going to go ahead and leave this probably at least a good 24 hours to fully dry, and then we can go ahead and try and add some bulk. So, because we're talking about bulk, I had to look through my bit box and I found this, which is like a resin base. Now this was to a completely different build way back when, but it's the exact same width as the pieces that we've cut up on the Talos kit. So in theory, if we cut this up into smaller bits, we can use these on the same base for added bulk, and that'll go a long way to making it all nice and even. Okay, so now that we have all the parts back, let's go ahead and see if we can put this together a little bit like a jigsaw puzzle. Okay, so at first glance I think that's probably about as best I'm going to get for now. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this to fully dry.
The next day.
Okay, so for the next part we need to go ahead and start adding some bulk and filling in some of these off-cut bits to try and just, well, bulk it up and make it a little bit easier to model over in a bit. So in order to do that, I'm just going to go in with some fine pebbles, some PVA glue and a old tub I don't need anymore. Mix it all together, and then we're going to try and get it into all the nooks and crannies. Okay, so that's the right consistency, so let's go ahead and add it to the diorama. Okay, I think that's probably about as best we can do for right now, so I'll go ahead and I'll leave that fully dry. Okay guys, so for the next part I'm going to go in with some of this stuff, which is called Filler In, and it's a lightweight filler that's ready mixed and ready to use. And we're going to go in and try and put a thin layer over all these surfaces to try and mimic some kind of sea pattern. Okay guys, that's not bad for a first pass, so let's go ahead and leave that to fully dry. Okay, so now that this is fully dry, for the next stage we need to go ahead and start adding bulk around the sides to build up these mountains. So I'm just going to go in with those off-cut bits, no point wasting them, and we're going to go ahead and try and add some layers, again with Yoo-Hoo glue. Okay, so for the next part we need to go ahead and go in with some Das air drying modelling clay, and we're going to go ahead and sculpt these cliff faces. Now in the reference photo, this part here, this mountain is slightly elevated and raised up more than this side. So I've had to take a few little pieces off just to try and make it look a little bit more balanced. I might have to add a bit more bulk to this side possibly, but for the most part we can probably go in with the air dry model clay and hopefully make it work. So for the next part I'm going to go in with a little bit of milliput, and we're going to go ahead and put it where his feet are, and then we're going to take these pegs out which are protecting the holes, and then we're going to put Talos in place, and then hopefully that's a natural fit for his feet. Okay, so we'll go ahead and leave that to fully cure.
8 hours later.
Okay, so now that is fully dried, we're now into the garage, and I'm going to go in with a sanding block and I'm going to try and make this sides a little bit smoother. Okay, so as you can see that is looking a lot more smoother and a lot more natural rather than the complex oval base that we originally had. But in order to make this a lot more smoother, we're going to go in with some wood filler.
So as you can see, that wood filler has done a great job. Okay, so let's leave that to dry and then we can crack on with the next part.
Okay, so for the next part I'm going to go in and I'm going to start fixing Talos. So we're going to go in with various bits of metal and we're going to go ahead and make like a pin system to house the parts together. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've bent them all back to be straight again, so let's go ahead and start drilling. Okay, so for the next part I'm going to go in with some high velocity super glue and some carbonate of soda, and you might be wondering what this is. This is basically just to catch excess carbonate of soda to save me from having to clean my work surface. So let's go ahead and start pinning. Okay, so he's a big boy now, so he won't actually fit into one seam. Well, maybe I'll do it like that. So let's go ahead and leave this to fully dry.
So after about 6 hours we're going to go in with some milliput and we're going to go over the seam lines and we're going to try and blend it out so it looks nice and natural.
Okay, so for the next part, now that these are rock solid, I want to go ahead and try and create a nice straight 90-degree. It builds up and then just like gets cut off, so to speak. So in order to achieve that, I went ahead and I made this, and the idea is I'm going to push that into place like that and then mush some new clay into it, push it right down, and then in theory once it's dried that should be a nice 90-degree edge. Okay, so there is a little bit of a gap, but we'll go ahead and leave the top half to harden first, and then we can go on fixing the sides a bit later on. But already I think that looks a lot more better. So now that we've done this side, I'm going to go ahead and crack on with doing this side. Okay, same again, quite a bit of a gap going around, but once we can leave this to harden we can fill this in later on. But in the meantime I'm going to go ahead and blend this into the water a little bit better. Okay, that seems a lot more straighter now, so let's go ahead and leave that to dry.
Yep, Eagle Eye viewers have just noticed that I just had a dip moment and just put my finger in what I've just made. So it was easily fixed, so I just did that off camera to save time. So now we're back into the garage, and same again with a sanding block and some sandpaper. We're going to go ahead and try and get these edges a lot more straighter. So, in order to fill in these side bits, I'm going to go in with, yes you guessed it, some more wood filler, and we're going to go ahead and leave that to dry, and then once dry, we can go back in with the exact same sanding block and sandpaper, and we can go ahead and hopefully that'll be the end of these 90-degree cliff faces. And now back in with the sanding block and the sandpaper, and then hopefully with a little bit of luck this will be the end of the trying to get these edges nice and straight. So now that those edges are looking nice and straight, for the next stage we're going to go into the spray booth and we're going to hit this with at least 2 coats of a nice grey prime. So while that is nicely drying, for the next stage I jumped back onto my PC and I went into matter control, and then I designed a Talos nameplate. And yeah, saved it as an STL file. So now that we have that STL file ready, let's go into the garage and let's get printing. Yep, I do believe that that will do nicely. So now that we've got it all grey prime, for the next stage I need to map out the exact middle of the dimension of the base, because obviously I don't want this to be a little bit like leaning to the left or to the right, so it has to be bang on more or less, right down the centre. So yeah, just going in with my trusty steel ruler, and we're just going to use a pencil to make some marks. So in order for this to have a good connection, I'm going to go in with a sharp scalpel and I'm going to add a zigzag kind of score marks on both the base, and then I'm also going to do the back of the 3D print as well. And then we can go in with some strong adhesive glue, and then we can go ahead and stick this.
Okay guys, so just wanted to say thank you for watching this video so far, and if you're enjoying it, you know, hit that like button, and while you're down there you might as well hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon thingy to let YouTube know that you want to see more of my work, and they notify you when I bring something new out. Oh, and if you want to be really awesome, please check out some of my previous work, because there's some really cool stuff in there. So yeah, a little bit for everybody. So back to the video.
So I went in with a little bit of white wood filler, just a little tip of it on my finger, just to rub it across all surfaces, and then that should go a long way to help blending this all, making it look a lot more natural.
Okay, so now that that should be nice and dry, for the next stage we're going to go ahead and smooth it back down with a sanding block. Okay, so for the next part I might as well go ahead and add the oars in place right now, because it would be a lot easier to do that now before we go ahead and like black prime all this. We can go ahead and like coat over where we've had to drill the oars into the sea, if that makes sense. So in order to do the oars, now apparently according to reference photos it's 10 oars on either side. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, there are indeed 10 little holes on the sides of here under the shields. So in order to house these in place, I'm just going to go ahead and cut up some normal cocktail sticks. Okay, so I'm going to try and see if I can carefully go ahead and drill these holes a little bit deeper. Okay, so basically it's that kind of idea. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to crack on and do all the rest of it, but I'm going to go ahead and skip to that, otherwise the video will be way too long. So yeah, let's go ahead and skip. Wow, that's a lot quicker, and it also cleaned up my workstation, so yeah, fantastic magic. Okay, so before we go ahead and grey prime this again, for the next stage I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of more detail separating the land from the sea. So you can see there, it blends quite naturally, where in real life you'd have like rocks and like, you know, like beaches or whatever. So yeah, can't see beaches in this one, so it's going to be mainly rocks. So in order to achieve that, I'm going to go in with a plastic tub, some PVA glue and some small stones, and we're going to go ahead and mix it thoroughly, and we're going to make a transition between land and sea. Okay, that ought to do for now. Let's go ahead and start transitioning. Okay, let's go ahead and leave that to fully dry. Okay, so the reason why these are green, basically I mixed something on another project that was like a filler, but it was like a greenish colour, and I didn't want to waste it, so I thought I would go over the milliput and just blend it out a little bit. So you didn't miss anything, it was just, you know, spare the moment. But for the next stage, now that these rocks are set in place, we need to make them look a little bit more like cliff faces. So in order to do that, I'm going to go in with some wood chip repair. Okay, we'll go ahead and leave this overnight to fully harden.
Approximately 10 hours later.
So for the next part we need to go ahead and add some kind of texture to mimic like long grass going up these hills. So in order to do that I'm just going to go in with some static grass scatter and some PVA glue. Okay, let's go ahead and leave that to dry. Okay, so it's been a good 12 hours. Let's go ahead and shake it off. Okay guys, so for the last bit I did it off camera just as like a bit of a test. I wasn't really happy with how thick these rocks were, and it was taking up too much of the channel of water that the ship would have obviously had to sail through. So I went ahead with my trusty scalpel and I have cut away most of that side, and as you can see that is more realistic like rock face than what that is. That's a bit too thick and bulky. So I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same on this side, and then hopefully it should look a lot more natural. So same again, I'm not going to show that on camera because it's going to take too long. It's literally just I go in with a scalpel, find a soft spot, bury it in, and then just take chunks out like that. So it'll take a while, but yeah, with the process and the magic of editing we can get straight to it. Okay, so as you can see there, that has made that visually more interesting because it looks like there's natural little cave systems and the likes, so that'll look great once painted. So in order to make sure everything's definitely secured in place, I'm going to go in with just a cheap disposable super glue, and we're going to try and super glue what's inside. Okay, so once that is all fully dried, for the next stage we're going to take it back into the spray booth and hit it with another grey prime. So for the next part we need to go ahead and start making the mast and sail for the Argo ship. But as you can see there, that the actual mast is pretty bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead with a scalpel and I'm going to score the back of these, and then I'm going to super glue them together, and then we can go ahead and cut this off, and then we can insert something a lot better.
So for the next part, I'm going to go in with some various items to try and make this mimic more what we see from the ship in the movie, rather than like what we get with the kit. So it's like a center piece of wood that goes right down the middle, and then obviously we've got like the little people on the oars on either side. So it's like 2 per bench from what I gather. And yeah, just a few little knickknacks here and there and everywhere, like the little drums that the guy plays at the back of the ship to try and get people into rhythm. And yeah, just trying to make it look a little bit more interesting. Yep, I think that looks a lot better. Okay guys, so here he is, all grey primed, and as you can see, he is one big bad boy. And I think this looks more reminiscent to what the scene in the movie than what we got with the original kit parts. So yeah, so I'm really looking forward to seeing this one painted. So if you are interested in seeing this painted, please join us back for part 2. Where we're going to go ahead and we're going to paint this up to a nice finished display piece. So, if you've enjoyed this video, please slap that like button, share on Facebook and X, because it helps new people find the YouTube channel, which I'm always appreciative. Thank you for any help. If you have any comments, comment below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. If you don't mind subscribing, because our channel's current goal is to get to 3,000 subscribers, and I can only get there with your help. And as you can see, we are almost there. So, yeah, I can only get there with your help. And if you want to be a legendary viewer, please take 5 minutes, check out my Patreon page, where with your help and support we can do these videos full time rather than part time, which means a whole lot more content for you guys and a lot more work for me. So, all that being said, thank you for watching. I'm Francis Gray. Join us back for part 2, and this has been the Mighty Talos Attacks. I'll see you in the next build.